Hello and thank you for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubaku. Today on the program, soldiers, policemen, 13 others killed as bandits go on rampage in Kebbi State as armed men kidnap 7 wedding guests on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Demand 60 million naira ransom. Federal government amend Nnamdi Kanu's charge to 15 counts, and later on the show, Gbajabiamila Mila's 6 increase in minimum education qualification for presidency, other elective position in Nigeria. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Utitoju and Gani Kayode Balogun. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Okay, before we go into the main discussion today, let's talk about the All Progressive Congress, APC, which has finally fixed a date for its national convention. The chairman of the Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the APC, May Malabuni, said the national convention will hold on the 26th of February, after the seeming sit-tight syndrome. 6 months to organize a convention after Oshomole was booted out, just to organize the convention and produce a new national working committee. It has turned to like forever.
2 years.
Well, I'm happy that we were here, I think about 2 weeks ago, and we talked about the need for this convention because the APC appear to be taking undue risk. Sometimes commentators, especially on social media, where everybody with an Android phone has turned himself to unlettered journalists with expertise in many matters. They looked at the Ondo, the Supreme Court judgment on Ondo, and didn't think that it portends some level of danger for the APC. And if you recall, I was suggesting when we discussed this matter about 2 weeks ago that look, we are going to have convention, we are going to have primaries in Osun, we are going to have primaries in Ekiti. The ideal thing is to have this convention before those primaries, because it was looking like this convention was not meant to take place.
I'm telling you.
And it was one of the reasons that the outspoken Lukman Saliu had to eventually leave, because he too was saying that there was no plan, that he could not see any plan for primaries of the party. But it's a good thing now. May Malabune has come out to say we will have this disagreement with between governors and all that. At the end of the day, we are going to have this convention. The shape that is going to take, we don't know. The answer to that is blowing in the wind. We don't know the shape that is going to
earlier, when you said it's last week, let's just take Javier's there so that they will see what we actually said about this convention.
Frankly, one way by which APC can move on and solve its problems is to have a very effective conflict resolution mechanism in-house. Put some of the most objective and highly respected people together. Get them to go and solve problems in the various states, so that you don't face the kind of crisis that you faced in 2019. This matter of the convention is important. It can make or mar the party. The question is, are these governors willing to let convention take place? Are they? And even after that convention, you will now have the presidential primaries. The best thing to do is to have those primaries of Osun and Ekiti. Quickly have the convention before those ones, So that whatever anybody wants to go to court or no, you know that you have you've had your convention and you don't do.
So the one of Ikiti that has been fixed for January 29, the primaries.
They moved it.
So if they have a convention in February now, so the legitimate NWC will be able to oversee the affairs of the party.
That is what I suggested, because politicians sometimes think that they have the judiciary in their pockets, and we've seen this thing blow up in their faces many times. Those of them who are agonizing over what happened in Bayelsa State, they had the opportunity to not let it happen. It was clear that the choice of the power people in the party, his qualifications had K-leg. They knew it. It was a well-known secret in the state. But some people insisted that he had to be the deputy governorship candidate. So where did that lead the party? Look at what happened in Anambra. Clearly, there was no primary election. All those lies that somebody generated a number of votes. What did we see? The matter went to court, and the court ruled that indeed there was no primary. So you can imagine if the candidate of the APC had won the election. After the court there ruled that there was no primary, they will have lost it to Abga or any other party. So learn from your mistakes. Stop repeating your mistakes. Keep your party strong. That is the message. That's the message.
GKB, you know this, all eyes will be on APC. It's the ruling party, so we can't but talk about the party.
Yes, you are correct. It's not only the ruling party, it's also a transition year. This is a transition election. It will have been far easier if the incumbent president is running again. Then they can use the power of states to rally everybody. But this goes like the report that will show. There are going to be a lot of divisive elements, even before and after these primaries. And so they must have mechanisms in place to ensure that those who will be aggrieved are carried along in such a manner that does not destroy the party. And I'll say this because the beer parlor gist around this is the fact that those who took over the party from the Oshomole were looking for a particular number of delegates to do a particular number of things. And they've been postponing because they don't have that number. But like I said, it's a beer parlor gist. So this is the opportunity for them to come forward and do it the normal way. Let the party hold the convention. Let them elect the NWC and the officers to run the party and save themselves the albatross that awaits if somebody should go to court and say the Bunu-led committee had no right to sign off on any candidates.
All right. Nigeria's ding-dong fight with armed bandits continues with widespread consequences on helpless citizens. The police public relations officer in Kebbi State, Nafiu Abubakar, has confirmed the death of 13 civilians, 1 police officer and 2 soldiers after bandits from Zamfara State invaded Dankade village on Friday. Meanwhile, gunmen dressed in army uniform have abducted 7 persons in Ishara, Ogun State axis of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. They were returning to Lagos from a wedding ceremony in Ibadan when they were kidnapped and 60 million naira ransom placed on them. Out of the 7 abducted victims, 3 have been released. This is okay. Let's start from
Kebbi.
The one in Kebbi State.
Yes,
the death of 13 civilians
and 2 soldiers.
2 soldiers and the police officer.
Yes, the person that I spoke with said even some of the security men were slaughtered, actually killed with knives. So I'm wondering how could have happened. Maybe they surrounded them, overpowered them, and then decided to decapitate them. It's terrible, the form of terror that bandits are inflicting on our people. And let's not deceive ourselves. There is no sign that this thing is abating. Anyone who says, oh, banditry in the Northwest is abating is an extremely dishonest person who does not have the fear of God. It's not abating. We are seeing signs that they are even moving to some areas where they were not active previously. And so that's why there is a need for a strategy that works.
They're breaking new grounds.
Yeah, a strategy that works. In Kaduna, some parts of Kaduna, people have even resigned to faith. Look at the level of carnage in southern Kaduna and other places. There are still many people in the hands of these guys because government has said, no, we will not negotiate, we won't have anything to do. So bandits will now, they are ready to keep you for 1 whole year until your people have sold their houses, sold their cars, sold their belongings, and are able to meet the demands of these guys. People who can kidnap a traditional ruler and collect 60 million, and they didn't release him until that 60 million was complete. They were offered 40 million. They said, no, this is not our money until it's complete. So it calls for serious concern. I look at the Southwest, the safest geopolitical zone in our country. Every time, and this is verifiable, every time the Americans issue travel advisory, it is only the Southwest that they leave out. They always tell their people, don't go to the South. A lot of kidnapping and all kinds of crimes. They don't talk about the Southwest because the Southwest had always been the safest part of our country. Now, the president has almost completed the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. We are jubilating. We are publishing the pictures. And these guys are now operating on that same road. Roads that are fixed are supposed to encourage a lot of us to be able to ride on those roads and feel the fauna, feel the environment. On both sides, the greenery, you feel it. That's the joy of traveling. But if bandits will now go and be kidnapping people just to go to Ibadan, from here to Ibadan, on that good road now, if you don't face that congestion around the punch, if you don't face that congestion, naturally 1 hour 10 minutes you should be in Ibadan. You don't need to enter the train. By road you get there early. What if bandits now make that road too dangerous to apply? So what do we now do? So you mean now that for us to go to Ibadan, you go and enter the airplane again? Because that's what is happening everywhere now, especially in northern Nigeria. Places that I never thought that, okay, people will be flying to. Now everyone is now entering aircraft. Airlines are increasing their routes to accommodate places where people were not flying to in the past. You enter in the past, when they first came up with the airport in Jalingo, you could be in the airplane, the plane would not be full. The last time I traveled, it was busting at the seams with passengers because nobody wants to travel by road. Don't even try it in some places, except if your life is of no value to you. This is what we are facing. You can't be killing our people, killing our security people. It has to stop. States that are not doing something about Amotekun, the governors, I really pity them. Because at least Amotekun can stand up to these elements. So what will happen in your state where you don't think Amotekun is necessary? How do you stop this?
It's GKB. It's alarming when you hear Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Ishara access that
Onigari.
And that's we have kidnappers now on that road asking for ransom.
I've been trying to wrap my head around the information I got, because if you know Onigari very well, it is almost urban. The level of forestry has gone down. It's more like a savanna on both sides of the road. Because of course you know that Ogre is on this side and Onigari is on the right. That's why the thing is baffling. But having said that, I think this is a wake-up call to those governors who assume they can play politics with our security. Because the difference between the Southwest and other zones is this. The Nigerian media is here. That means things that will happen in the north or the east that will be lost in transit will be amplified there. That means only one kidnapping in the southwest, as far as media coverage is concerned, is equivalent to 30 in some parts of Nigeria. So you know the level of pressure that will now be on the CP Ogun State and CP Oyo State as it were. Luckily, Oyo State has a very functional Amotekun. Very functional one, very hardworking one. I don't know about Ogun. I know Ondo, if I would, out of the lot, Ondo Amotekun is the best. Because they are very proactive. They don't usually wait for things to happen. They want to happen in their presence, they are dealing with it right now. So I think what we need to do now is to realize that this is a national problem. And unless and until we stop pretending that it happens to somebody else, it's now home.
It's coming down.
We know this will happen. If you remember this program, we told them, you cannot chase people out and not cover their retreats. You are looking for trouble because they will abandon somewhere else. And we do know, about 3-4 weeks ago, that even the most dangerous bandit that they know is said to be somewhere in the Kwara Osun forest. That means that anybody with a data of common sense knows that the next step is an invasion of the southwest. It's not rocket science. When you chase people away, cut off their retreats. Because what do they simply clear a particular area and allow them to hibernate on other areas? We need to do something about it quickly before it becomes a national emergency.
Just for the southwest, I don't think the vast landmass that they enjoy in the north, we don't have, and I don't know how they'll be able to operate freely.
They still have forest, extensive forest in Osun State, parts of another Oyo too, where we have the games reserve, the whole national park, and then Ondo State. When you are approaching a war, all of those areas. So those places are Ondo North is notorious for kidnapping because they also have extensive forest and all that. The danger for us in the southwest, especially in those places that I've talked about, is those forests link one another. So somebody could be kidnapped here, and the person it will end up in Edo State because they kidnapped someone in a village close to my village, Ifejumu. And they ended up in Akoko Edo, and they trekked. It's not as if they got them a chopper or anything. They trekked. They made them trek for 9 days in the forest.
9 days.
They will put you through all kinds of pains that sometimes, if your body cannot take it anymore, the person dies. A friend of mine was telling me that when they kidnapped one of his friends, that friend of his had always been diabetic. And they said,
constant drug.
If this guy does not have access to his drug for 2 days, anything can happen. He said on the 3rd day, they saw his body by the roadside. He had died, and they just put him there so that his people can take him. So and they are not human beings. When when people negotiate even with them, you see the kind of comments that they make.
Yeah.
If you understand now, sir, I will give you one video where they were negotiating, and they told the guy to go and bring 100 million. At a point, he got very angry. He said, you are very stupid. Where do you expect me to get 100 million? He said, go and kill him. Do what you like with him. Do what you like with him. The man had been frustrated. He had sold his things. He had raised some money. And then the guy said, no, you've forgotten. It was 100 million that I said you should bring. It was like, is this one crazy? Why will I get 100 million? Our people are going through a lot, especially in northern Nigeria. And it is the responsibility of government to put an end to this nonsense. It has to stop. This is the worst problem that we are facing as a country. Other challenges, the government has found a way to at least weather the storm. You know, we see progress in various areas, but we cannot talk about progress when we are talking about banditry. No, we can't. I said we are deceiving ourselves. They are on rampage. They even went to where the leprosarium to show you how demented they are. Where they keep people who have leprosy, they went there to block people.
So
what's going on?
Always high on cheap
hospitals, they target hospitals. They just want to pick people from hospitals. Doctors now doing ward rounds. They must be accompanied by AK-47 or AK-49 wielding policemen to do ward round. What are they turning our country to? I mean, these guys, they just need to be wasted. It should be a national priority. It should be a national priority. Everyone is tired. Look at the Mieti Alamanda who was speaking. He said, we are going back. They don't have the resources by way of ammunition to face these guys. But they would rather die than allow them to take over their land. He said, we are going back there to meet them. They've killed 40 vigilantes. But he said, no, we are still going back to meet them. Because
to get to a point, they'll just say enough is enough.
Push to the wall.
And this is what is going to happen. Because like I said earlier, things can disappear in the northwest or in the northeast. Or you are talking about the home of Nigerian media. That means if the government is not careful with this particular intrusion, this may be the end of the problem. Because nobody will go away and then people will not remember that it was during your time that this thing became endemic in our country.
Southwest media.
Because you know they are very loud. And they are very...
It's a very big problem. It's a very big problem.
Okay. Now joining us on phone from Kebbi is Alhaji Junaid Wasagu. Alhaji Junaid, thank you for joining us.
Okay. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you for joining us.
You are welcome, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. What do you make of the situation in Kebbi State? The banditry taking up.
The situation is out of hand, sir. Bandits have come day before yesterday. They have attacked one village, Danko, called Danko in Danko's of local government. They stormed the town and they shoot sporadically. They kill many people. They kill over 43 people.
43
people.
43.
But we are seeing
40.
how many? Just a few people. 13 persons said to have been killed. That's what has been reported. 13 persons.
How many people?
13 civilians, 2 policemen, 2 soldiers, and 1 policeman.
There are many. They made some. They killed them. They did not allow people to take it and bury them.
What really
is killed more than that? Is what they reported officially, but it's more than that. I have visited the area.
So you are saying more than 40 people were killed?
Yeah, there are more than 40 people have been killed. Hear it from me.
Now, what really is the bone of contention? Why would they just come into a community and start slaughtering people?
No, they come to carry some cows and go away with them.
Oh.
And they used to kidnap people there and collect money and collect ransom.
So did the people stand up to them or what? Because to just start killing people at random.
Some stand up to resist. But they storm the town. There are more than 50 people. They come with over 30 bikes.
Motorbikes.
Each bike carrying 2 to 3 people.
Wow.
So they have started shooting and killing some people. Some have run away. Whoever come out, they will just kill him. They will shoot him down. So that's what is happening there. And all the areas bandits have been attacking them on daily basis. What is happening in the Wasagu is beyond is out of hand. And our leaders have never been complained to the appropriate authority. That is what is happening now.
Has this in any way affected farming in your states?
Hello, sir.
Has this in any way affected farming activities in your states?
It has been affected us. Some did not even plant. Those that are planted, they did not allow them to harvest until they give some money. When you go to the farm for harvest, then they will deny you until you give some certain amount of money. Then you will harvest. After harvest, then you will quickly carry it inside town. Otherwise, they will punt it. and no action has been taken. Our representatives, especially Balana Allah, have never been visited area. People have been complaining to him. We have even taken people to his house, but he not allowed us to see him. He always come through plane. He did not mind to visit his people. What is we just come from the program that is being called by some traditional rulers. We don't mind about people, neglected them.
But what has the governor?
That's our audit.
Honorable Wasagu, what has the governor done?
Even the governor, they have complete them. Nobody is taking action. We are calling on the media to please assist us and candidly talk to them.
They claim that these bandits came from Zamfara.
They have been coming from Zamfara because we are close to them in that area, in that border. It's just some 1 to 2 kilometers away between Kebbi and Zamfara.
I want to thank you, Honorable Alhaji Junaid Wasagu. Thank you for your contribution at this, for giving us what is happening in Benin Kebbi. Gentlemen, we've been reading about this. They've been telling us about this, that our people, they now have their own Federal Inland Revenue Service, bandits, collecting revenue.
When you go throughout history and you look at the signs of a failing state,
let me just halt you there. We'll take this break, and when we come back, we'll discuss more. Please stay with us. It's journalist Hangout. Thank you for staying with us. GKB, before we went on break, we were talking about these tax collectors.
actually, I was talking about.
People are actually going through a lot.
Seriously, I was trying to lay the foundation for the discussion about the signs of a failing state. The first sign, of course, is that there will be fiefdoms controlled by warlords,
non-state actors.
And once they do that, it becomes part and parcel.
What's happening in Libya now?
So what we are going through, if you are not careful, is that because of political consideration or other factors, things that we ought to have caught in the bud 10, 15 years ago has now become normal in certain parts of the country. People living there are now telling us in black and white that they would rather go to Niger and get protection than rely on Nigerian army. They are now telling us they are willing to pay these guys to go to farm than to call the Nigerian army. Because you and I know that how big the north is, but 30 motorbikes, 30, will move from that distance.
See them on the road.
And
this is still northwest too.
And nobody
on the highway
will alert the authorities. 30 motorcycles. 3 on a motorbike is about 90.
If a vehicle is attempting to pass this highway, like just imagine what they will do to this.
This is somewhere in the northwest.
So if you tell Nigerians that Nigeria is failing, they think we hate those who are in government. That's not true. These are the signs throughout history of a failing state.
They don't, it's just silliness that will make someone simply look at someone like me and say, they hate the government. I'm closer to the people in government than you that you are writing that rubbish. That's a fact. I'm closer and I have access. So it's not a threat, we are simply doing our work. If the country is safer for everyone, we will all be happy.
When we showed this video yesterday, people were still, they still walked up to me and they asked us questions that, how is it that the atmosphere is not tense, that everything seems to be going nowhere? I said, they are used to that.
They are used to it.
I said,
that's the government.
The first time that Boko Haram got into Niger State, I came on this program to talk about it. But I know a lot of them will not believe, because they wanted to promote the notion that Boko Haram had not spread its tentacles beyond the northeast. Now we see a governor of the state coming out to say, look, in 3 local governments in my state, Niger, Boko Haram are in charge. So what are we talking about? So if they had been in Niger State, even before Salah Day of 2020, when Shekau posted that picture. So you should know that by now the people are already used to them, because Nobody has come to dislodge them.
Look at the youths. They are looking at them.
Nobody has come to
They are
dislodge them.
admiring them. They are just looking at them.
No,
They are
just
looking
looking
at
at
them.
them. Some of them would even wish to become like
Of course, they'll graduate to.
Oh, have we not seen musicians praising 2G? You know,
This
praised
is
2G, praised his wives, and all that. So what
And these are the same people that will supply them with girls, supply them with...
even information.
Yeah.
Sometimes about movement of troops, these people will give them. A general was telling me that in the northeast sometimes he sees it on the faces of residents of some communities when they are sending reinforcement to a place. He sees anger on their face.
And contempt.
They don't
He
like
sees
it.
anger. So that means you are collaborating with the enemy. If the army is going for reinforcement somewhere and you people are wearing long faces, you don't want them to go and dislodge those people from there. It shows that you are working with them. Is that bad?
All right. A long-drawn legal battle between the federal government and the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, is in the offing. The federal government has filed fresh terrorism charges before the Federal High Court in Abuja against Kanu. In the newly amended charge, Kanu now faces 15 counts in the suit instead of earlier 7 bordering on treasonable felony. Let's hear from the counsel of the parties in the suit.
This is the charge that was filed was dated 17th. That was on Friday, and they filed yesterday. And as soon as it was filed, it was served on them, and they had an interaction with him. And of course, you are aware of the fact that law requires that charges can be amended and filed even on the eve of the judgment of any case. So the mere refusal to take the plea today is one of the several antics employed by the defendants to delay this case.
Have been able to give me another clearer copy, which is legible. And with that, we will take the next step. Tomorrow, no one is running away from plea being taken. But the point we made today, which the court appreciated, is that you can't take plea to counts that have not even been given to you. We were served some minutes to 10 a.m. yesterday a 15-count amended charge for a case coming up today, whereas the last date of adjournment was 2nd of December. So they had well over 1.5 months to have done that and served us. They didn't. So I believe that was intended to frustrate today's proceedings. In any event, that was the 6th time they are amending the charge.
The last time the President Buhari was asked, he was saying that, look, they should allow this case
To run this course.
That means there might not be a political solution.
No.
Has been agitated, clamored for by some leaders from the southeast, east, so that there can be peace. But ruling that out, filing fresh charges, Jide.
It's the pressure is being mounted on both sides. It's like on both sides, you are trying to gain as much advantage as you can gain. So pressure is coming on both sides. They too are piling pressure with the civil disobedience part, simultaneously with efforts being made by Amechi and other people that are appealing to government to consider a political solution. You know, and the president was polite when he met those old men. He never told them that he would not do it. He never told them. He just said, you've asked me to do something that is extremely difficult. And then the president tried to deflect the responsibility to the judiciary. But we know that, look, if two parties are involved in a matter and they approach the judiciary that, look, we want to discontinue this matter, the judiciary has nothing to do about it. So to simply say that it will amount to interference in judicial matter. No, the president just
if
needed
it's
an
political
excuse.
solution, the president can tell the attorney general
No, the
to
two
go and enter
lawyers, yes, they can enter null prosecute, and then the two parties can have the two lawyers, because frankly, the case can be discontinued by fiat. You still have to approach the court to say we want to discontinue. So if there's that understanding, both sides will come together and say, okay, let us do it. We've had political solutions in the past. It's not new in our country. In the South, we've done something like that.
The Mohammed Abacha case.
Yes. You know, Obasanjo personally went to Kano, you know, to go and hand over Mohammed to the Emir of Kano. But anytime I need him, you must be ready to give it to me. Give him to me. But we knew at that time that the matter had ended. So this is the thing. People want peace. But as we are seeing now, Kano is piling pressure, trying to show the world that DSS, they are maltreating him, this and that. The judge said, look, I don't want Kano to appear in my court in this dress again. He must be allowed to wear whatever he wants to wear. He must be allowed to practice his religion. He must be allowed to do exercise when he wants.
This is what he has been wearing.
Yes, saying that he's not allowed to. His lawyer told the judge that he's not allowed to wear what he wants. That even when people, any detainee that speaks with him, that detainee too will be put in solitary confinement. So the judge said, no, this dress has faded. I don't like the way the dress looks. From now on, I don't want to see him wear this dress to my court. So, now the concern now for his lawyer is that the amendment keeps getting. The charges keep getting amended. When Sunday Igboho won in that court in Ibadan, some of us predicted that the government will not be able to appeal because the facts were staggering. Imagine someone killed and then dragged on the floor, you know, and the thing was recorded on CCTV. What did the Attorney General do after a few days? The Attorney General decided to file fresh charges because he knew in his heart that the appeal will fail because the evidence was there. Yes, sometimes you know a bad case from the beginning.
The Southeast today, effectively, I've seen some videos.
Yeah, lockdown.
Oh, stay at home. Granted, as a sign of respect to solidarity. Nnamdi Kanu. And they said if any time is going to court like this, this is the situation to protest and in solidarity with Kanu.
Well, that's to be expected because even the president today, before he became president, of course, enjoyed a court-like status in certain parts of the country because he was assumed to have stood up for the ideals of their society. And as far as the people of Southeast are concerned, Kanu today represents the same level of court-like devotion that they see. And you don't want to about creating mythical figures. Is that it will keep getting bigger and bigger while it's locked away. So you keep creating a court figure by your own admission. And for normally
by your actions.
Because
if he had been ignored when he was making all that noise.
This would not have
this action now. It has shown that
it began this agitation before
democratically elected.
No, that one is a given
structure.
That one is a given. That is more popular than the governors in the Southeast.
No.
It's not even something you.
No, the governors will give instruction in the East.
And
people will disobey. But even Kanu has not spoken. They just hear some people said to be sympathetic to him.
Give orders.
They give, and the people will go and obey. Governors will say anybody who does not come to work, they will be sacked. Any shop that does not open, they will revoke this thing. So the people want to live.
And they have a way of circulating this information. When I was in Anambra State, immediately you just hear that Imam Powerful has spoken, and you just hear something say, tomorrow this is what will happen. And to be so effective,
and they allow the election to.
So the government needs a lot of wisdom in this case and that of Sunday Igboho, because the more you keep them away, the more you create mystical something around them. So by the time they come out now, they become
make heroes out of them. That's what we have seen with this man.
So
Obasanjo handled the Wazori case matter very well.
no, even did
He
it
did not.
with the
He did
arena
not. He did not.
Baba Fashion.
Yes, he
And
did
he
not
handed
degenerate to
them
this level.
over to Justice Thompson. And he said, these people are your, just like he did for Abacha. And if a high-ranking person, this person is now in your care. That's a face-saving thing. You've done two things. You've released the man without releasing him. The Japanese call it in name, I forgot. When they make a law, they ignore the law until they need it. The law is there, but they ignore it. So if an enemy now falls into that trap, you now use that law to deal with the enemy. It's been done in government for the last 1,000
We said it
years.
at that time that this fellow should not have been given the attention.
Yeah.
That
It should have been ignored.
So
Or at
the government effectively played into his hands.
No. He knew exactly what he was doing. Because when you start grandstanding, the next thing,
And
of
at
course,
that time, it was merely talking. They had
Yeah,
not
it
even
was on
begun to
radio.
kill people.
it was just on radio.
Yes,
Just one
they had not begun to
pirated
kill people
radio.
that time. Oh.
So you created this. I don't want to use the word monster. You created this particular personality, and now you are reaping the fruits of your labor, as it were. But I agree with you.
Alright.
This uniform should be changed. It's an indictment on governments.
Alright.
You only one shot.
But
finally-
the judge also reminded him that, look, the detention facility is not a 5-star hotel. So you will not get everything that
but
you
must have more than one shot.
you must have
Everything
that
must
constant reminder
Is
that you are in detention. If
that your
things
freedom
get
has
so
been
fine
taken
for
away.
you there, you would think that you are not even in detention. So, and the DSS is not the best
No,
place.
they are very frugal.
No,
I use that word.
I've been there before, so I know that it's not the best place to.
And finally, times change. So must societies evolve to meet modern changes. For the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, it is time to review the law which pegs the minimum education qualification for aspirants to the office of the President and other elected positions at senior secondary certificates or its equivalent. Gbajabiamila says Section 131 D of the 1999 Constitution, which makes provision for the minimum education requirement for people seeking elective offices, does not align with current realities and needs of modern times. Let's share the story with you.
It's the University of Lagos 52nd Convocation Lecture with the theme Building Back Better, Creating a New Framework for Tertiary Education in Nigeria in the 21st Century. Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, an alumnus of the school, who delivered the lecture, said Section 131D of the 1999 Constitution, which speaks to the minimum education requirement for the presidency, does not align with the current realities and needs of the modern times.
Ladies and gentlemen, this provision is the product of a different time and reflects the reality of that time. It is time to take another look at that position as part of the ongoing effort to reform our electoral system and establish a fully participatory democracy, providing the capable leadership our country needs.
The lecture, which was chaired by Justice of Nigeria's Supreme Court Justice Amina Uji, spoke about the importance of education in nation building.
Educating ourselves, making us ready to face what life has to come, is our personal choice. Nobody is forcing you. Nobody is going to say do or don't do. But when you do get yourself properly and soundly education, everything's like a vehicle that will take you to the highest point ever.
Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos, Professor Oluwatoyin Ogundikpe, and the Chairman of the University Governing Council, Lanre Teju Osho, highlighted some of the achievements of the university.
Our students in the area of entrepreneurship, they have been doing very well. What the university intends to do is to register companies for the students, and with the support of the Bank of Industry, get the startup grant of maximum of 2 million naira for them to start their business, and also bring in mentors
It was concluded at the lecture that the foundations of Nigeria's educational system are still rooted in a different age and designed to meet the social, economic and labor demands of a different societal and economic model. Sharon Jackson, TVC News.
I remember that time when Tuesday Guardian, when it's for people seeking employment, and when if you are going through it, you see must not be more than 27 years of age, must have a second-class upper from Federal University, from this. They will just list it in a company so that they can get the best. So when you now get to the company, you now write. Sometimes they will ask you to write SATs or GMATs. As aptitude tests,
just to be sure that
any of this multinational, you must write this aptitude test just to make sure that they want to get the best. But when it got to the Nigerian Constitution, and when people have been going to courts and we've been seeing cases, and I discovered that it's not even compulsory you have that O levels. No. That's not what that thing is saying. Equivalent. If you have something like, if you go to one school like that, it's looking like qualification of O levels.
Yes.
What do they call it?
G4. What do you call that one?
I've forgotten this thing that.
The one for typing,
I've just forgotten, but this is not good enough.
Is whichever way we look at it, you cannot say, okay, you've reduced the age, for people to be eligible, and then not do anything about the qualification. We can't be in this digital age, and say that just anybody could be our president, for example. We have to raise the bar. That's the point that Gbajabiamila is making. Gbajabiamila has a talent for arguing, and arguing logically. That is the greatest talent that he has, to the point that even sometimes he forgets that he's a speaker and he tries to argue with his colleagues, because that talent is there and it pushes him.
Sound.
Yes, he's sure of himself. He's a sure-footed politician. So he knows what he's talking about. He knows what, and I'll be very pleased if they can amend that portion. The presidency should not be an all-comers affair. Even our religions encourage us to seek knowledge. The first vision that was given the prophet of Islam was for him to seek knowledge, and he was told to seek knowledge even as far as China, if need be.
So
what are we talking about?
What are we talking about? And Daniel understood by books.
Yeah, so what are we talking about? There's no reason to simply say, somebody, they are not even saying you should pass, that you should just enter your evidence that you went to.
The evidence, yes.
Whether you are a failure in school.
Yes, that's what is amazing there.
I mean, I don't know the kind of people who wrote this.
It was a carryover from the 1979 Constitution. Because I remember at that time, this led to a very big fight when they were doing the constitutional review before the 1979 Constitution came into. I think these people just copied it and pasted it in the 1990s.
They got to do something about it.
Approach.
They just pasted it and let it go. I agree with you. I think most of the time, especially in southern Nigeria, this thing is observed more in the preach. Do you understand? People have bigger certificates and then they dumb it down so that there be no problem later in life, because some people have questionable qualifications. So they might use this as an excuse not to present anything at all. So you understand? So that's why politicians will never touch that particular. That's the lacuna there.
The minimum is simply not enough.
Because you cannot accuse somebody who said doesn't have a certificate of forging a certificate. You get what I'm saying? So they make sure that this thing will not go. And I can bet you can come back here next year, nothing will touch that particular clause.
No, but if these guys, if the National Assembly members are patriots, they know that it makes sense to touch that thing. How many of them are not educated in that house or in that Senate? Some of them are academics, some of them are professors. Yes, so what are we talking about? If you can go through all that, to get yourself educated. Your parents invested their hard-earned money to get you educated. And then you go to a place where laws are made, and you encourage never do well to be able to aspire to be president.
Should not just go for mediocres.
That's what we are saying.
It should not, at least the best.
I'm saying the minimum as we have seen now is simply not enough.
It should be a first degree minimum.
The minimum is simply not enough. Is it that difficult to go to school?
When you have so many correspondence colleges. There are even some people who went to school in London. There's a general joke when I was in London that there are some schools dedicated to Nigerian politicians. That's why they come in 6 months. You have your degree.
Even whatever we say, education broadens one's knowledge. You are a much better person when you read and when you are educated.
Logic.
And there is, you see, even where we are, we always say that, look, there's no experience, there's no substitute to getting educated. Get yourself educated. Learn. You can learn from your colleagues, your junior colleagues, just that knowledge. You must be a knowledge hunter. That's what makes you a better person. That's what makes you a better person. You see the difference between somebody who did not go to school when they begin to relate.
I know.
I mean, you see, it will be clear to you.
Chief Awolowo said it. He said, I would rather raise an army of educated people than an army based on sentiments. That means he's raising an army that will query him.
Be able to ask him questions.
He doesn't want to lead people that will just say yes all the time. He said he's happy when people come to him and argue with him. That's leadership. And you and I know that Obasanjo, when he was Obasanjo, will take the time from 9 p.m. till 3 a.m. argue with his aides. So next morning,
that's how it gets better.
Is an authority on that topic.
Yes.
Because for the 3-4 hours during the night, when everybody else is
taking notes.
He's talking to them, arguing with them, and learning from them.
That's how you get better. You can't, in this digital age, look at some of the people even becoming prime minister, becoming president in other countries.
At their age.
We should just flow with the tide. And that's why I agree with Bajabi Amila that this thing is not consistent with the present-day realities. We've got to produce the best. And Nigeria has tremendous talent, tremendous manpower. Everywhere. Excelling everywhere.